You just want to leave room on the sides because his ears kind of stretch out to the sides. That's the cutest part about him. So I'm going to start right here in the middle, keeping it nice and light as I'm sketching it in, drawing all these light loose lines, kind of building it up a little bit more. Almost looks like an egg, kind of laying on its side. But once you have this egg, we're going to add in a couple of guidelines. We're going to cut the oval in half from top to bottom, a straight line. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. It's totally okay. And then you also want to cut out, I would say, the bottom third of the oval with a line that goes left to right. So that way you see you have more space on top here than on the bottom. So this is the start of Grogu. It doesn't look anything like him, but we're going to start drawing in a little bit more of his facial features. I'm going to shave off the bottom little section of this oval with a line, and really this is like a stretched out U here. Because Grogu wears like this tunic, and the collar of the tunic is very poofy. Makes him look like he's wearing a parka or that he's bundled up for the winter. But this is the first line that you're going to go back in and you're going to darken up so we can see a little bit more. I'm a very messy sketcher. I'm a storyboard artist, so I have a lot of messy lines in my drawing. So these darker lines are the ones that really stand out by the end of the drawing. You can really see them pop forward against all the light lines. Now, if you didn't like something on your sketch, you just want to leave it nice and light, you can adjust it while it's nice and light, and then you darken up the line that you like even more. That's the one that's going to pop forward. Now, right where these two lines meet, that's about where Grogu's nose is. And because we're drawing him in a much more like animated style, his nose is just going to be a very simple little hill. It's very small. His mouth is also very small because the biggest thing on him are his ears and his eyes. So in contrast, you have these two things that are pretty tiny. So I'm going to go right underneath here. I'm going to add in this small little U shape. You can see I'm kind of containing it to right underneath the nose. But the horizontal guideline, this is also known as the eye line. So we're going to place his eyes right on top of that line. I'm going to start first with a couple of stretched out U's. This should go right underneath where the horizontal guideline is. Keeping them nice and light until I like them, both, because remember they're supposed to match. I don't want one eye to look like I got stung by a bee or anything like that. I don't even think bees exist in Star Wars, so just something to keep in mind. And then I'm going to add in this rainbow up here on top. So we got these nice big almond-shaped little eyes for my Grogu. I'm going to go back, lock these in, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my son, because he is my son, because he doesn't know, but in my mind, I'm married to Pedro Pascal, so makes sense. This is our happy little family, and I'm supporting them, and I'm supporting my husband's like rogue lifestyle by working here at Disneyland. It's okay. He's just like a little ship ride away. As you know, he's over. He hangs out over at the Black Spire Outpost. It's very quick. I just take a little shuttle and I'm there. We're having lunch or dinner. It's great. It's wonderful. Anyway, I'm done putting in this fantasy. I'm darkening up these eyes. But you know, something about Grogu is that, you know, Grogu is actually a puppet on set. That was one of the big reasons why, you know, actors were kind of treating him like a real human baby, or a real baby in general, like a real being, because they were able to play off of that with this puppet. Now, he was puppeteered by 5 separate people when they were filming. 2 people for his arms and legs, 2 people for his eyes and ears, and 1 person for his mouth. So it's pretty interesting to think about like how much detail has gone into this little guy. And what's really going to wake him up and brighten him up is, as you can see, I drew in these 2 circles on the insides of his eyes. But you want to leave those circles alone. You actually want to shade in everything around those circles. That's what's really going to start, you can start to see more of Grogu kind of popping forward off the page. Although originally we didn't know his name, we didn't know that his name was Grogu. And so because of that, on the set, because they hadn't decided yet, they called him the Being. But of course, when he came out in The Mandalorian, they actually also called him the Child. But we all called him Baby Yoda, right? And mostly we called him Baby Yoda because we don't know the species that he and Master Yoda are. So that's why we just kind of resorted to calling him Baby Yoda. Because if he was a species that we knew, like for example, Chewbacca is a Wookiee, we would have just been like, oh, did you see the baby Wookiee? But no, we don't know what he is. So that's why, you know, we would be calling him like Baby Chewbacca if he was one of those, but he's not. Again, as someone who went to school for animal science, it drives me up a wall. But it's okay. For everyone who's a passive fan, they're probably like, no big deal, lady, just keep drawing. I'm going to draw in a rainbow right above the eyes. These are his eyelids. They're following very closely to the eye, so you don't want to go too high up because we're actually going to draw in his eyebrows after this. Actually, I'm a liar. We're not drawing his eyebrows after this. Right after this, we're actually drawing in his little droopy baby cheeks. All babies have this, even babies of whatever species this is. So I'm going to drop down these little C shapes over here from the side of my oval, the side of the oval that we have here. Kind of blending them into his little tunic there. But when you go back in to start sketching in his eyebrows, you want these eyebrows to break outside of the silhouette of the oval. You don't want to keep them on the inside of the oval where you really want to see more of that silhouette here for his eyebrows. So you can see I'm very lightly starting to sketch these in. I'm going to go back in and lock these in too. But once you have the eyebrows, we're going to be about halfway done with our sketch of Grogu. Except I may want to do it one more, never mind, we're going to do one more thing and then we'll be halfway done. I'll give you all a break to catch up, okay? One of the things that these guys are known to have is a really good, strong presence with the Force. They're just really Force sensitive. This is something that Yoda has, this is something that Grogu has. And something, even though I don't know the anatomy of these guys, because again, I'm an animal science major, I'm just a little crazy when it comes to knowing little facts about creatures. But something tells me it has something to do with the bumps that are on his face. So I'm going to very lightly shade that center line together. And you want to very lightly add in these bumps. And you don't want to make these too dark, just because the bumps, if you make these really, really dark, it's going to age him up into like the next century or so. And he's still supposed to be like 50 years old. So just keep that in mind, is that you still want to keep them nice and youthful that first century of life. But right now, once you have this wrinkly little baby on your page, you're about halfway to drawing Grogu. So, gotta check in. How's everybody doing?
Looks like a cat. Fine.
I got a fine. I got a lot of silence. It's okay. I know that you're focused. You're a focused artist over here. But are y'all having fun?
Yeah.
All right. Rock on. So, if you're not seeing Grogu yet, what did you say you called him, sir?
A cat. This looks like a cat.
Mine looks like a cat too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mr. Toad.
I was like, I don't know why you would think he's a cat. He has no ear. Did you draw the ears in already?
No. Yeah.
Okay, then I'm like, why is he look? I would believe more frog.
Yeah.
Okay, whoa, everyone's getting a little crazy here. Hold on one second, hold up. If you're not seeing Grogu, or you're seeing a cat, or whatever else that some of y'all have been having too much fun out in the park. You've had way too many of them Mai Tais out there. Don't worry, don't panic, because we're gonna draw in the ears, and that's what's gonna make him look a lot more like himself. Because the ears, and who has a hat? I saw someone had a hat. You. So see, exactly. You see those ears? They're flat on top, curved on the bottom. That's what makes them look a lot more like Grogu. So I'm gonna go over here from the very side of his eyebrows. I'm gonna add in very flat lines up here at the top. The people behind you with the hat better draw perfect ears because they have the perfect reference right in front of them. I'm gonna add in this very straight line, and then from the end of that line, you wanna pull a curved line right to the bottom of his cheeks. Now these ears look really big on him, but again, that's the whole point, is that he's supposed to look very baby-like, just like a puppy. You know, like you see little baby dongs with big ears. It's that same type of kind of logic when it comes to it. These big ears, his big eyes, it makes him look really, really cute. Now, one other thing I wanted to tell you, at least about the show of The Mandalorian, is that, they didn't have any merchandise available of Grogu when the show first premiered. In fact, I don't know if anyone else was like that, where I ran to the store to see if I can get like a Grogu plush, Grogu merchandise. There was nothing available because they wanted to keep this as it was the biggest Star Wars secret to date. And by keeping it, in order to keep it a secret, they did not share anything with the marketing team when it comes to this character. So really, the marketing team thought the show was all about just the Mandalorian. He like fights crime and stuff. because any leaks that happen in the marketing team. I'm so sorry if anyone works in marketing in this room, but it's you guys. You are the ones that ruin everything for us. But so that's why when everything first premiered, we didn't have anything ready or available. But now, since Grogu's been around for such a long time, you know, there's constantly merchandise for him. People are wearing hats, people are wearing shirts. People are, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a little like plush puppet of him that eats like frog eggs. Like, I could just see it. It's just part of what makes him look so cute. I drew in the little baby hairs on top of his head. Again, I should know this. I see him every night when I go home. But over here where the cheeks meet the ears, that's about where the rest of the collar is going to go. And the collar is the last thing we need to sketch in for you to have a complete portrait of my child. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to darken up the sides here. These are stretched out C's. And then I'm going to add in another stretched out C, but I'm going to put this closer to the left-hand side. I'm going to give it a more asymmetrical look, so that way it's not like right in the center. Just a preference. And I'm going to make that line a little bit longer. And we're going to connect these two lines together with another stretched out U. And I'm going to go over here on the far right-hand side and just follow the same curve of the first line that we sketched in, pretty parallel to that top of the collar there. And then I'm going to darken it up. You can add in a little bit of lining for your Grogu, but really the final thing left to do is just to find a good spot somewhere on your sketch and don't forget to sign your name. Or you can draw my son with his favorite snack ever, which is a frog. In fact, it's my favorite thing that he does. He takes a frog and he eats it like it's an In-N-Out cheeseburger. And it makes me a proud space mom, so something I like to think about on a constant basis. But with that being said, we should be finishing up our sketches of Grogu. How did everyone do now that you're done?
I had fun.
You had fun. Well, what I'm reading and what I'm sensing is that everyone is not too sure about their sketch. But how many of you have never drawn Grogu before? This is your first time ever drawing Grogu. All right, a lot of hands in the air. So I gotta say, I'm the artist. I'll be the judge. So what we're gonna do on the count of three, I want you to turn your boards around. I want you to show off your sketches of Grogu. And I'll let you know how these turned out. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's see Grogu! Oh my goodness, look at him. It's like I'm seeing a yearbook of my son everywhere. It's so great. Nice job with the eyes. I love the little tunics here. Great point. See, you have a hat. It's like you cheated. You added it in. Nice dark eyes over there. In the back, looking very, very cute. I gotta say, I'm looking around. The force is strong with all of these. So give yourselves a nice big round of applause. You're doing such an excellent job with your sketches. Congratulations. These are yours to take home with you, so just don't forget them as you're